to see the joy and satisfaction on the customer's face, knowing that they were treated fairly. And that's more gratifying than anything else.
Brian Losh, Ripple Water Treatment. Welcome to Southwest Florida Spotlight.
Thank you very much.
It's really
nice
good
to be here.
Nice to have you, man. Let's start from the beginning instead. Tell me a little bit about who Brian Losh is.
Well, I'm from Tewksbury, Massachusetts. I'm 43 years old. I'm married, 2 kids. Moved to Southwest Florida in 2008. My dad moved down here 2004 or 5. And really, I didn't have any intention of following him. My mom was still up north, same with my sister. At a family gathering, he asked my girlfriend and I at the time if we wanted to move down. He was going to charge us $500 a month, and we said no. We said no. I had a subcontracting business. She was working 2 jobs. We were happy. I didn't want to move to Florida. A couple months later, Christmas time, we all had a couple of drinks. He said, well, what if I give you a year for free? I looked at my girlfriend, now my wife, and I said, well, you coming? Because I'm going. You know, I was 28. I owned a vehicle. I had 1 dog, and that was it. Like, I had no financial ties or responsibilities to keep me there. Mm-hmm. And if I didn't like it, then just go back. I love it here, so I have no intention to go back. Kind of fell into the water treatment industry a couple years later in 2010. Didn't really know much about it. Just had an opportunity with one of the local companies here and spent almost 15 years there learning the business, moving from maintenance to service to installation to management and so on and so forth. So really found something I enjoyed. As far as my personal upbringing, I played hockey in Massachusetts. I played baseball as a kid as well. Refereed high school hockey after I played, which I think I enjoyed more than even playing. Met my wife in 2004, I think it was, and got married in 2010. Had our first child in 2013. Another one a year later. Life's good.
Life's good.
Life's good.
Family's good.
Family's good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, and you got into the water treatment business because you had problems with water treatment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So we moved here in April of 2008. So stock market crashed after just doing kind of odd and end jobs, and I had a friend that was an owner-operator for a moving business in Massachusetts, so I kind of picked up some work with him, traveling, and my wife was home by herself for 4 to 6 weeks at a time. It was going to be a short-term gig, but eventually my wife called me and said, look, just finish that trip, stay home. I can't do this. She was alone. Her family was up north. So just happened to be, taking a shower when I got home, and the water didn't feel right. I live with well water out in Lehigh, and I went outside. I said, something's broken. I got to figure it out. I found a part. It was obviously broken, and after going from store to store, Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, one of the guys at one of the stores said, try this company in Lehigh. They'll be able to help you out. So I ended up in there. The young lady was obviously training the store guy. So I just said, hey, you hiring? Always had resumes in my truck. I filled out an application. My wife actually worked in that plaza, so we had lunch together, filled it out, and went back in. I interviewed with the owner the next day, and the next 15 years happened. I don't think he necessarily had a real open spot for me, but he saw something in the interview that gave me a chance, and like I said, I found something I enjoy doing, problem solving, interacting with customers, and working for a good company for all that time too. They're very reputable. They taught me the right way of how to do things, and that's, I appreciate that greatly.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what led to you forming Ripple on your own.
Yeah. So, I mean, it got to the point where I wasn't enjoying it as much at the end because I was more just management. For a lot of the years that I was a service manager, I was still running a service route as well. I was in a truck, on the phone constantly. The days flew by, and I enjoyed it. And at the end, when I was not running those calls, I was just supervisor. It was becoming more of a corporate thing to me, and that's not my style. I just wasn't enjoying it anymore, so it was time to do my own thing.
Yeah. And so let's talk about Ripple a little bit.
Sure.
So what's up with the raven?
It's a crow.
Crow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a symbol of community is the biggest thing. They're the smartest bird. I don't know if you've ever seen the video of the crow that can't reach the water in the glass, so he gets a bunch of rocks and he fills the glass until he can reach the water. They're loyal. They have a strong sense of community. But it also was to honor my nephew. He passed in 2023 after battling cancer for 5 years. Got it young, 14. And when he passed, his father and I, when we were together, we would see crows alarm. John would say, "Hey, look, there's Jake right there. He's watching over us." So that was the symbol of that. So when I got with Twang Design Studios, who did the logo, I said, "Look, this is my thinking, and I can't put it into words of how I would want it." And I mean, first shot. When he sent that back to me, I showed it to my wife, and it was just perfect. That's where the crow came from.
Very cool. You've got a lot of symbolism.
Sure.
That's going on in here.
Sure.
And there's other symbolism as well, right?
Yeah.
I understand you got a couple dogs.
I do.
What are your dogs' names?
Samson and Delilah.
And that's, of course, named after
The Grateful Dead song, Samson and Delilah.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but you're way too young to be a deadhead.
Yep. So 1999, my buddy Ricky called me up and said, "I've got an extra ticket to a concert tonight. Do you want to go?" And I said, "Sure, I'll go. Who's playing?" And he said, "It's Bob Dylan and Phil Lesh and friends." And I said, I've heard of Bob Dylan. Who's Phil Lesh?" He said, he was the bass player from the Grateful Dead. Just come on, you're going to have a good time. He wasn't wrong. A few hours later, after the concert, I was wondering when the next one was coming. I didn't feel a sense of appreciation for music really until I experienced them. And unless you've been, you just don't know.
Right on.
So that was pretty cool.
That is very cool. It's so neat to see, sort of the different things that motivate and drive us in the community.
Sure.
So, now let's talk a little bit more about your motivations and things. So in Ripple, you're very customer focused.
Oh, absolutely.
So, just talk a little bit about that. What's that experience like for your customer whenever you go and see?
So the biggest difference with me is you know exactly what you're going to get. I'm not sending a technician out. I'm the technician coming out. So you're going to get an honest opinion. 15 plus years of experience solving issues in Southwest Florida, both city water, well water. So that aspect right there should give the customer a little more confidence to start. Then once I'm there, it's communication. The customer needs to understand what I'm doing because they're at the end of the day going to pay a bill. They should know what they're getting for that money spent. I also feel that the more educated my customer is, the easier my job is because they now know exactly what to expect. There's not a lot of regulation in the water treatment industry in the state of Florida. There's very little. So you're going to get a lot of misinformation from guys that are not educated or just want to make that money. So if you want a good experience, if you want to know what you're purchasing, if you want to be treated fair, then you should give me a shot.
Absolutely. And so let's talk about something that, what's the sort of one of the most common things that you just run into that would meet, I need to call Brian because this
it really depends on the water source you have. We're really split. A lot of people have municipal water. A lot of people live on wells. For the municipal customer, a lot of people move here and the water doesn't feel like home. They want it to feel what they were used to. Like in the Northeast, all of our water comes from protected reservoirs. The water's pretty soft to begin with. You move down here, all of a sudden your skin is dry and itchy and your hair is brittle. Those are definite solvable issues. This is not a difficult process. Obviously, the taste of water and health. The municipalities do a decent job of obeying by the limits they're allowed, but in my opinion, let's reduce the amount of contaminants, period. So drinking water would be a big issue for municipal customers. Wells, that's simple. You have to have something. You have to. Your plumbing and your appliances, for one, without proper treatment, are going to fail way faster than they should. Two, the health of your family. Bacterial contaminations exist. There are simple systems that can eliminate things like that. Those are, telltale signs you should seek some help, professional help with that.
Absolutely. And so let's talk well for a minute, because I do know that's like one of those things that's like really important. Maybe people moving here for the first time don't understand as well. What are some of those danger signs that a well has that a person just moving here wouldn't know about?
Sure.
Brian in 2008 wouldn't know.
Absolutely. I mean, a well for me was, something with a bucket and a string up in New Hampshire. You know what I mean? I didn't know what well water was. Your visual signs are going to be staining, drips in the tub. You'll see the rings in the toilets, things of that nature. There's obvious signs like that. Smells. We deal with a lot of hydrogen sulfide gas in our well water. It's a rotten egg-like smell. It's not necessarily harmful, but it is very offensive. But it also is corrosive to any metals, jewelries, things like that. So if you start to see your silvers tarnishing, you say, well, what's causing that? They could be actually coming from your water. And then obviously the biggest one is if people are sick in your home. I mean, you can't just assume your water is safe. Have it tested, make sure it is.
So Brian, what's the most rewarding thing about helping customers keep their water clean?
Just solving a problem. When you arrive at somebody's home, they're having an issue. And a lot of times they've either had a handyman out to look at it, or a friend or a family member, and or two companies have already said, everything needs to be replaced. It's $8,000. And being able to solve that problem for a couple $100 because there's a bad part they're either missing or don't want to tell the customer. And just to see the joy and satisfaction on the customer's face knowing that they were treated fairly. And that's more gratifying than anything else. My old boss at the company I worked for, right away, early in my tenure there, said to me, "Bri, I sleep well at night." And that stuck with me. He was never looking over his shoulder. He treated the customer and the employee fairly and honestly every single time, and even at his own financial expense at times. And I saw that more than once, but it didn't matter. I sleep well at night, Bri. So, well, makes sense.
So, Brian, after moving here in 2008, now you've built a life and a career here. How has the Southwest Florida area shaped you as a person?
Well, I would say just it opened my eyes to see a different way of life. Everything up in the Boston area is go, 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 go. There was more thought as opposed to everybody up there, and at least in my experience, everybody thought the same way and people were happier here. That's for sure.
So, Brian, what would you say to someone who's trying to support just local-owned small businesses like yours?
Do your research first. The length of operation for the company isn't as important as the satisfaction of the customers that business has supported. I've only been in business for a year, but if you look at my reviews or favorites on the Nextdoor app, that you will see nothing but positive. Make sure you start there, because supporting local business is so much better than supporting a big corporation, for sure. And make sure that you are supporting a good local business and that you're, getting what you pay for.
When someone is interested in talking to you about water treatment and, if they've got a problem, how's the best way to reach out to you?
Well, call or text 239-270-1659. I've got ripplewatertreatment.com. You can get an email to me through there. You can find me on both Nextdoor and Facebook. I think that's it.
So, Brian, what would you like Ripple Water Treatment to be known for?
Honesty, integrity. Those are the most important things. You will certainly get more business by treating your current business with honor and respect. That's really the most important thing.
All right. On that note, Brian Losh, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.